So let's switch over to the main monitor. So I don't tend to make a lot of status devices. I tend to have a few leftover products that I can't use, and every now and again, when I've got enough of them, I put together a stasis device. But really, everything that I do is all about the fusion igniters. This is the No Man's Sky crafting tree, and this is what I use to sort of guide me through producing the most expensive products in No Man's Sky, which are the fusion igniter and the stasis device. The whole thing is quite complicated. So instead of looking at this entire map for how to craft products, what I've done is I've split it down into 3 different crafting lines. So the first one at the top is the gas line, which is this one here. The start product in each of these lines is one of the primary gases, so it's either sulfurine, nitrogen or radon, and then combined with condensed carbon produces one of these 3 products, so thermic condensate, nitrogen salt or enriched carbon. And then these 3 lines can be combined in various different ways to produce semiconductors, organic catalyst, hot ice, and then again into superconductor, fusion accelerant and cryo pump. So for every 3 of these at this side, you get 3 of the end products. It's quite a complicated map, but if you just look at one set of products at a time, it's quite easy to produce quite a lot. Also, looking at the far side of the equation, these bits, the sulfurine, nitrogen and radon at the start, if you're just crafting the products, it costs 250 sulfurine, 250 nitrogen or 250 radon. If you do it in the refiner, you can refine it with salt or chlorine and actually use less of the original gas to produce the same amount of primary product. I'll come out of the gas line and then we'll look at the next one down, which is the organics. So these are all the products that you can farm. The top one on here is liquid explosive, and this is what I used to manufacture. So this is about 1 million units for every liquid explosive. So I've got a fungal mold farm that produces quite a lot of fungal mold. So if we zoom in on the requirements for liquid explosive fungal mold, you need 600 units of fungal mold and 200 cactus flesh. So this is actually the biggest requirement for organics. So a lot of people don't look at doing the fungal mold farming because it takes quite a lot to produce just one liquid explosive. But on the other hand, if you look at all the other products, they all need lots and lots of different input, whereas liquid explosive is really easy to produce with only 2 organic products. I spent a lot of time doing liquid explosives farms. If you look at the circuit board farm, which is the other product that a lot of people try and manufacture, if you look at the requirements to go into that, you've got to have 200 star bulb, you've got to have 100 cactus flesh, you've got to have 200 selenium and 100 frost crystal to produce 1 circuit board. So that means that your farm's got to be quite diverse and have a lot of different products growing on it. Whereas with liquid explosive, you only need the 2 products and a little bit of mordite, which you can get from killing creatures, or refining refining Fecium, you can convert that into Mordite, and also Mordite converts back into Fecium as well, so you can swap between the two elements. Yeah, I noticed Fecium's still called Copperite on here. This is mainly because this was from the next expansion. So some of the namings of the products on these sheets are out of date, but I don't have the original images to update them. So that's organics, a quick overview. And if we look at the final sheet that I've got, this is the minerals line, and I've amended this a bit from the main big image, because as well as this loop here where you can refine earth metals round in a circle, and you lose it, you basically halve the amount you've got, but you move on to the next one. There's also this useful refiner setup here where you can combine 2 selenium and 1 salt to produce phosphorus, or 2 gamma root and 1 salt to produce uranium. So combining an organic product with a salt gets you the mineral product that you're after. So if you overproduce certain products like fungal mold, you can then add it to salt to get the ammonia that you need. But also, ammonia is a mineral that you'll find on the same planets that fungal molds grow on. So let's zoom out a bit and just have a look at the different minerals and how it all works. So to get geodesite, which is required for the fusion igniters, you need Herox, Lemium and dirty bronze. And all of these you can get from refining the organics. So ammonia you can get from refining the fungal mold and salt. The pyrite you can get from refining cactus flesh and salt. And also the uranium you can get from the gamma root plant and salt. So if you look at the fusion igniter line, the organic elements, you need a liquid explosive, which you get from fungal mold and cactus. So you're already set up for creating this geodesite anyway. So in order to get the fusion igniters, which is what I'm mainly making, you need the portable reactor and you need quantum processors and you need geodesite. So we're pretty much hooked up for the geodesite and the liquid explosives that go into the portable reactor. But we also need to make circuit boards, which is a bit of a problem because that means expanding out. So we can ignore the living glass if we're just concentrating on fusion igniters. We don't need living glass, we don't need cryogenic chambers, we don't need cryo pumps. All we're after is superconductors and fusion accelerants. You might be wondering where I'm getting these recipes from. Firstly, this image is one that I found on Reddit, and I'll see if I can zoom in on the guy that created it, because it is a really useful bit of kit. So all credit to these guys up here, but also I use this application on my phone. So let's see if we can yeah, maybe not show my pin number on screen. So this is the assistant for No Man's Sky, and if you type in here things things like Herox. It not only tells you how to refine Herox, so ionized cobalt and ammonia, but also it has other ways of getting that. So ammonia, cobalt, tritium, ammonia ionized cobalt, tritium, and ammonia, cobalt and silver. And you can also refine Herox into silver. So if we look back at the organics line, if you're running a little bit short on cactus flesh or fungal mold or star bulb, you can get more star bulb by combining it with paraffinium. So at my star bulb base, I grow star bulb, but I also mine for paraffinium. And so 1 paraffinium plus 1 star bulb equals 2 star bulbs. So you can bulk out quantities of certain products, like the fungal mold. You can bulk that out with ammonia, which you can also mine on the same planet that you find fungal mold on. And this way you can boost up the amount of products that you're producing by adding in the minerals to these lines. So if there's something that you don't produce a lot of, you can actually use the refiners to produce more of it. So on my planet where I grow cactus flesh, I also mine for the gas, which is sulfurine gas. And sulfurine you can combine with dihydrogen to produce selenium. So that's producing a plant from a gas and a mineral that you can find abundantly on the planet. Now also, if we go into dihydrogen, you can craft dihydrogen jelly from 40 dihydrogen, and that refines back to 50 dihydrogen. So you're actually, every time you do that refining loop, you're gaining another 10 dihydrogen. So that doesn't sound like a lot, but if you put in 1,000, then you're going to come back with a significant amount more. And then that dihydrogen you can refine again and again and again through the loop. And eventually you can put all of that dihydrogen in with your selenium, your sulfurine that you're mining on the planet, and you get selenium that you don't have to grow. So that means you can use your greenhouses for other products. Selenium, you can get that from gas and dihydrogen. Star bulb, you can bulk out with paraffinium, and you can also get paraffinium from silver and oxygen. So silver and oxygen, you have a little bit of star bulb that you put in at the start, and then you can bulk it out and produce loads and loads more. So star bulb, cactus flesh gets you polyfiber. We're already farming for cactus flesh anyway, so there's normally some left over from that. And then I've also got a frost crystal planet. Frost crystal grows back really quickly, so it doesn't take a lot to produce a heat capacitor. So basically, I combine all those things together and I get hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of fusion igniters, which all sell for 18 million a piece. Scrolly, yeah. So fusion igniter, 18 million. So if you sell 20 of those, which is a stack, then you get a great big chunk of money. So that is my rough and ready guide, without access to the blooming game, of how to get loads of fusion igniters. Hopefully this will edit down into some kind of usable guide without too much work. Okay, so thanks for listening to my nonsense. and I'll come up with something else to tell you another day.